Welcome. Another episode of HGV Talks with me, HGV Breezy, and this is episode 5. Last episode was a Q&A where I took questions from Facebook and answered them, and hopefully you guys were happy with the answers and enjoyed it. It did really well from the analytics side of things. Um, so hopefully we can kind of continue in this trend. The Q&A was fun. I'll probably do it again sometime later on, maybe for like a 20th, 30th episode or something like that if you guys really want to. Today, something I kind of felt like talking about and going over was sort of just more things about me. I feel like early on into this, it'd be good to tell you guys stuff about myself just so you kind of get to know more about me and, understand my perspective on things, maybe, I guess would be a good way to put it. Oh, my back. Oh, I just cracked my back so good. Oh, that felt great. But yeah, so I was thinking, talking about like my college pretty much after high school till where I am now. Like kind of like a quick recap of that kind of stuff. So first thing I'll kind of cover is college. So I graduated high school, and when I was going through high school mostly, I was super into basketball. So the first like 2 years, I'd say, like freshman and sophomore year, I was like, yeah, I'm going to the NBA. That's just what I'm gonna do. I'm okay with that. Um, but I was like 4'11", so that didn't happen. I didn't even make the team in high school. I think I was a little gypped for some of the tryouts, but that's another story. But so I went from pretty much not even thinking about what I'd want to do for a career, and I was just pretty much playing basketball and playing video games and just being a kid, like most people are at that age. And when I was in high school, I started taking classes for architecture because it seemed like something I'd be interested in. Uh, so when it came to applying for colleges, I was thinking about doing architecture. And another thing I was thinking about was history because I had a really good history teacher, Mr. Bates. He was awesome. He was a criminal justice teacher as well in my high school. Um, if anyone listened to this had him, he's the goat, one of my favorite teachers. So he actually made me enjoy history so much that I actually thought I loved history like that, and I wanted to be a history teacher. Uh, Come to find out, he was just a good history teacher, or just a good teacher in general. It wasn't the history I liked. So I went to college. I went to a 4 year college going for a bachelor's in history. I plan on being a history teacher myself because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. Architecture was something I enjoyed doing in high school. We had a couple classes for it, like doing AutoCAD and stuff like that, but it got canceled. The program got canceled. And my senior year, I wasn't able to take any further education classes for it. So I only did like one or two courses of it. I kind of fell off. So kind of fell off that idea. And there were no schools nearby that offered 4 year degrees for engineering, which was kind of a backup thing I kind of thought I would want to do. So I just went for history. I was like, yeah, if I want to change it, I'll change it. After I want to say it was like 3 semesters maybe of doing history. I mean, granted, I was doing mostly just like prereqs. It wasn't really, we weren't really working on a major at the point. Just kind of doing random classes, like seminar classes. I took my first year seminar class was on dogs. It was canine athletics, if I remember correctly, where you learned about different breeds of dogs and stuff. My second year one was about coffee. Shout out to coffee because I love coffee. I'm drinking some right now. With a little splash of black coffee, with a splash of eggnog, iced coffee. So good. But yeah, so I was doing just kind of prereqs, and eventually I switched to exercise science. So I kind of realized I was like, I like, history. The real turning point for me was I was taking a history class. I think it was my second year of college. It was U.S. history. The teacher, he was an awesome teacher. I don't remember his name, um, but he was a great teacher. And I went to Bridgewater State in Massachusetts. That's the college I was going to at the time. And he he put me aside at the beginning of class before I walked in. He came out and was like, "Hey, I want to talk to you quick." He was like, "I don't know if you got stuff going on, but I was falling asleep in every class. Pretty much every single class, I had my head down. I was sleeping because I was working really late nights, and I would always be really tired. And I was good at history, and he was like, you're doing good. Your grades are fine. You're doing great in the class, but it's really demoralizing when I'm looking and trying to teach a class and you're sleeping in the front row. So honestly, when that happened, I was like, I don't want to be a history teacher because I realized damn near every history class I've ever been in, that's the crowd. Everyone's kind of just like, no one really cares. Not too many people actually care about history. It's kind of just like I have to do this thing. So like, I was like, I don't want to have a career where I'm just talking to people that are sleeping. I don't think I'd be as good as my teacher was in high school to make it a better class and more interesting. I don't think maybe I would have, but I realized then I didn't want to do it. So I went more towards, I love basketball still. I was still playing sports, just, on my own time. I was like, I like athletic stuff. So exercise science was the way I went. I took maybe one or two classes for that major and I loved it. I still really enjoy that. And I might eventually one day ever might go back for it again. Who knows? But uh, I was working at the same time. I was working as a dishwasher at a restaurant. It was my first job while I was in college. And then I switched over to working at Dunkin' Donuts. Uh, it was probably it was probably like my second semester. I only worked at the restaurant for like 6 months or so, and I switched over to Dunkin' Donuts. So, and that was right after high school. So it was probably the first semester I was as a dishwasher. After that, I was working Dunkin' Donuts, and I moved out on my own. And I kind of had this mindset of like, oh, I'll just do part time school and I'll work part time and I'll just do my thing. I had a really cheap room I was renting, so I was doing that for a little while. Then I was like, you know what? I don't know. I just want to work. I just want to, rent this apartment, hang out with my friends, and just work part time. I was just kind of just going that route. I was like 20 years old. Maybe I've only been almost 21, and so I dropped out of school. Then I took maybe a year off. I want to say I might have been like 19 or 20 at the time. I took, I think, a semester or two off, and then I re-enrolled at Bridgewater. I think only for one or two semesters, maybe of real like one or two classes. I was super part time, and I dropped out again. I just couldn't get into it. I was kind of already in that mindset of like I'm done with school. And then from that point, I was working at Dunkin' for a while. I ended up working my way up from closing on nights to doing more afternoon shifts, which was like the one of the best shifts because you made the most tips. And I eventually got into morning shifts. One of my She was a friend. She became the manager of the store I was at. She was a manager of a different store at the time. When she became the manager of our store, she asked me to be the assistant manager. She was like, I need an assistant. If anyone's here is going to be it, I want it to be you. So she was like, if I'm going to take this job, I need you to be my assistant manager. That was the one rule I had. So I did that, went to working 4 a.m. mornings, and I honestly really liked it. Working at Dunkin' Donuts was one of my favorite jobs. Um, just the interaction with people, just I don't know. I kind of liked it. I think it was probably my favorite job I ever had, honestly. I did that for a while, and then eventually she left because she was like, just not enjoying it as a manager, a store manager, and she left. And when she left, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna make you the store manager." And I told them I was like, "I don't want to. I like being an assistant manager. I like being the number two of a company. I don't want to be the guy, but I will gladly help the main person with whatever they need to get what they need done. But at the end of the day, I want to go home and not care what's really going on. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't want to be the store manager. They're like, all right, can you just like kind of act as the store manager for the time being, and we'll give you a little raise, and we'll find a manager to come over here for you. I think maybe 2 months went by like that, and they pretty much it almost felt like they gave up on trying to find a manager and they just made me the manager. Like I was the store manager for like 2 months, maybe three at most. And I was like, I don't like this. I hated it. You know, Waking up at 3:30 in the morning from a text that the person that's supposed to be opening the store called out. So like I gotta wake up, I gotta get up and go in and open the store, or I gotta find coverage because I'm gonna be by myself the whole morning. And I hated that feeling. And I was making $10 an hour as a store manager or something like that. I was like, it's not worth it. I found a job working at a call center for a bank. That job was exactly what you'd expect. It was trash. Um, just sitting there taking calls from people all day. I was not there for too long. I was there for about 8 months maybe. And while I was there, I was constantly like, oh my god, I need to find someone to get me a better job. It paid okay. It was a little bit of a better paying job, but not much. And then from there, I actually got a job working with Franco. I didn't know Franco worked at the place. It was delivering medical equipment. The place repaired surgical instruments and stuff like that. And I got a job being the guy who drives up to Boston, picks it up from all these big hospitals, picks up all the instruments, and then brings them back, and then they get repaired. And I drop them off the next day, pick up new ones. I actually enjoy that job a lot too. It was a lot of just, I was just by myself. There was no boss hovering over my shoulder. I had my job to do for the day. When I was done, I went home. A lot of hours, a lot of long nights with traffic, but just kind of like the freedom of being by yourself was pretty cool. And while I was there, is when I met Michelle, my wife, my now wife, and I was also in the process of buying a house at the time. I kind of put college on the back burner. At this point, I was like, I'm grinding, I'm working. I was really like into making try to good credit score and stuff like that. And like just learning about that kind of thing, just growing up. I was like 22 at the time, 23 maybe. And then I was closing on a house around the time I met Michelle. Like I was like literally like within days of closing. So I closed on the house. Me and her had just met. Finally, I get the house, and then couple, maybe 6 months after getting the house or so, I had an opportunity to get a job working as a machine operator at another company. I don't want to say all the company's names, so I was doing a machine operating job for a company that made dried cranberries, I'll say. And I was working overnight 12-hour shifts, and I had never done machine operating before. I had no experience. But and I interviewed really well. They had like, placement test kind of things to like test your mechanical knowledge, and I guess I did extremely well on them somehow. I mean, I worked on cars and stuff, and I did some engineering classes, so like I wasn't like I'm not an idiot. I consider myself a pretty smart guy, but I didn't think I was gonna do that well. But I think they were really short-handed and they just needed somebody, so they gave me the job, and I think I did pretty well there. All the people I work with, like always seem to speak highly of me, but who knows what they say behind your back. But it paid really well. Paid is to this day the best paying job I ever had. But the overnights were tough. Working 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then me and Michelle were just starting together. She was in college at the time. She was going for her doctorate, doctor of pharmacy, and she had to go to Boston, drive an hour and a half to work to school every day. She would leave 5:30 in the morning. I'd get out of work. I'd call her on my way home, and then I wouldn't see her till like the next day, maybe, if she was off the day of school or something. So it paid really well. It did help me financially, but the schedule sucked. Point blank, it sucked. Uh, but at that time, I was thinking because I was talking to her about it, and she's like, I'm obviously you're working, you're just grinding right now. Basically, I was that was the mindset. I just bought a house. I'm gonna grind, make money, help her get through school without being too stressed out financially. I just want her to kind of, it's hard enough for her as it is. So I was like, I'll grind, help you get through this. And then, you'll graduate, you'll have your doctorate and all this stuff, you'll be good. And she had asked, but what are you going to do when I graduate? Like, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, when I'm graduated, then what do you want to do? Do you want to go to school? And honestly, this is when everything kind of changed. This was a huge shift in my life. It was not just my life, but just like my mindset. It's I still think back on it. It's crazy to me. Like I don't even remember like the person I was before. So when she asked me that, I was like, I am gonna want to go back to school eventually. So I had an opportunity to get a job making pretty much it was like a slight pay cut per hour, but it was to go work a desk job doing data analysis for a greeting card company, working 7 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. I was like, that's awesome. I'm taking it. So I took that job and I was like, you know what? I can go to school while doing that. I can have a set schedule. It'll be good. Get there. Started there, I believe, in like June or July. It might have been June. And I want to say, maybe a month or two in, uh, is when school started. So it started in September. So I was there for maybe a month or two. probably not even. Yeah, I think I started late July because I went on a vacation in August, and it was like I had to make sure I planned it with them that I was like going to be going on vacation soon after I started. So I went to school September, started taking classes, and it was okay. It was like exactly what I planned. I was working my hours, taking my couple classes a week. I was doing good in my classes. I was on a bowling team. I was bowling on Monday nights, and while I was doing the desk job, it was kind of quiet. Some slow times, and I would watch YouTube videos while I'm like just working on stuff. It's busy work, and I found Gary V. This is when a huge thing changed because I mean, people can say what they want about Gary Vee. Some people are full believing in what he says and his ideas. Some people think he's just a snake oil salesman or whatever. But I think what he says, I mean, you can say what you want, but it's true. You know, you don't want to. One of the biggest things I feel like he tries to nail in is that you don't want to be 95 sitting on your deathbed regretting you didn't do what you wanted to do. Because like no matter how much money you have, no matter what how successful you were on your deathbed, you're gonna think what you really wanted to do then. I wish I did this when I was young. I wish I did this when I had the chance. So that plus the conversation me and Michelle had about, when I'm done with school, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do? And I started thinking more like, you know, more legitimately about it. Like, I don't want to be an engineer. I like it. I don't want to be a mechanic. I like working on cars, but I don't want to. So then I might do in my spare time. I don't mind. So, it's a fun little thing to do, but I was like, what do I really enjoy doing? I feel like I kind of like woke up sort of as, cheesy as that sounds, but like I thought about it and I was like, when I was like 17, 18 years old, maybe, I was probably a little younger than that. I was so into video games. I used to love playing video games. And me and Snowman used to make videos of Left 4 Dead and Rainbow Six Vegas, and I used to do these YouTube things, and I sucked. I was terrible at it, but it was like 08, 09. It was like super early YouTube days. No one was really that good at it back then, and I used to love doing that. And at the time, this was 2016, 17 or so. Must have been 2017. When I found this video of Gary Vee and like started watching his stuff, going down that rabbit hole of thinking about what I wanted to do. I found Twitch and watching streamers. Well, I had been watching some streams before that. Shout out to my man, Drewby, aka Mr. Talent, aka Nips, and Shady Penguin. Some Pokemon streamers, if you guys know them. Um, I used to watch his streams a lot, and I was like, I always thought about doing it, but I was like, I don't know. Kind of nervous to be like the center of attention. I don't really like public speaking, and I was like, but I really would like to. I feel like that's what I would actually like to do. So that year, I started doing streams from my Xbox. Just pretty much how everyone starts out. You launch up your Xbox, you log into the Twitch app, you stream from your Xbox. I was playing Call of Duty 4 Remastered, and I remember. Oh, I wish I could remember this guy's name. There might be a pause here. I might be able to find it. I might be able to find it. Let me see. If I go to my Twitch profile, can I look at my followers? Is that a possibility? If I look at my page, is there any way to look at my community and my follower list? Oh, yes, it is. Okay. I'm going all the way down. I don't have that many. I don't really use Twitch, so I'm going all the way down. Let me see, because I'll remember the name as soon as I see it. One of my first streams, this guy started watching me. Vortec, I remember that name. That was my boy. All right. Let me see. He's not. He doesn't follow me anymore. I don't think. Unfortunate. Unless he changed his name. Possibly changed his name, but name's not there. Unfortunately, damn it. I would have remembered it too. He was a guy. He was from Trinidad, and I remember he used to watch my Call of Duty streams. Anyway, kind of sidetracked there, but got into streaming then, and I feel like once I realized like I really enjoyed streaming, it was just like the next level for me. Like I was like I'm done with school. I'm not going back. Like I dropped out of college. I was like I'm done. I told Michelle about it. It's trust me, Michelle. Think about her perspective. You know, she's like, I'm going to school to be a doctor. This is like a tangible thing. I'm gonna bust my ass. I'm gonna graduate. I'm gonna have this degree that's gonna get me a job, making a lot of money, guaranteed. You want to play video games where you hope people will find you and hope people will donate money to you, and you maybe you'll be good enough to break through, but it's like it seems so unrealistic. But I had been working this whole time, so I actually left the desk job I was at, went back to machine operating at the dried cranberry place, and started making. I was like, I'll make more money doing that, and then I'll figure out. I'll go back to making money grinding. I'm done. Screw my schedule. I'm not going to school. Um, I moved out of the house. I sold the house I was in, bought a new house, just me and my wife. We weren't married at the time, but we were engaged. So the house we're in now, uh, I was just grinding overnights. I was streaming like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning until like 10, and I would sleep, wake up, go to work 12 hours, come home, stream for a couple hours, and I started doing Call of Duty content a lot because that's when it was around the time I was doing a lot of Fortnite first, then switched over to Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare, the more recent one that came out, then Warzone and all that stuff, and then eventually Pokemon, and it kind of all went from there. But it was, dude, it's like I try to think back to like when I was 23 or whatever, 24, before I started streaming, and like had that Jimmy Neutron brain blast of like, this is what I want to do. And I really like I can't even like remember my mindset back then. Like, what was I doing? It's really like phenomenal to think about, because I really just don't remember like that person anymore. And like I even told Michelle this. I was like, I don't even know why you liked me back then. Like I was like, I didn't feel like I feel like I had nothing going for me. Like I mean, I was obviously still the same person. I still had the same sense of humor and looked the same, and I just kind of was like the same guy. But like, man, I had like no drive, and it's like once I kind of had that realization and the passion drive I have for this stuff is just, man, it's so much different. And it kind of is one of the things I want to do on this, little roller coaster of content creating is help other people kind of have that same realization and help them kind of achieve whatever thing they really, really want to do. So, yeah, that's kind of like my career up to this point. Started as a dishwasher, Dunkin' Donuts, some school, some machine operating, then Jimmy Neutron Brain Blast. Now I'm a streamer and content creator, and eventually got fired from a job machine operating because I was focusing too much on content creating. I kind of couldn't give two shits about the job. Got forced into full time content creating, and it worked. So can't complain. We're about 2 months away from 1 full year of content creating for me. More like 6 weeks. February 1st will be 1 year that I've been unemployed and streaming full time. So, all you guys that come through and listen to these podcasts, everyone who likes a stream or a Facebook reel or a YouTube video or a TikTok or a Twitter post, every single thing, it helps drive this passion of mine and all this stuff to, you know, fulfilling the dream I have. Because I really don't know what I would do if this ended up not working out and ended up. I don't think I could ever go back to just some regular job again. I really don't. I really don't. So I'm glad you guys stick around, and hopefully we can turn this into something really special. But thank you for coming through. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.